All right. Hello, class. I've decided to post this recording of me going through problems. Here I'm gonna review the box method I taught you in class for multivariable polynomials. This is mainly for people who are still confused on the box method or just how to solve multivariable polynomials specifically. So I've decided to pull some examples from lesson 2 from class, and I'm gonna go through them here on camera, as well as some other examples from a textbook that I thought would be valuable to you and from past Regents questions. Okay, so the very first example we're going to do is here. My original class, you guys know I gave this with a typo. It is fixed now. This is what the problem is supposed to be. Now, so we start this off, as always, we draw our box. So our rectangle with our 4 smaller rectangles within it. As I told you guys before, the first term goes here. Last term goes here. Now we're trying to factor the polynomial up top. So we're going to start off and find the factors for the two things we put in the box. So x fourth, that can be divided into x squared and x squared, because as you guys know, x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Now we could do the same for y to the 4th. Y squared and y squared. Okay, we know that the side length of this is the same as side length for this, and this is the same side length as this. So now we actually don't have to worry about these two boxes, believe it or not. We're done, because we have officially factored this polynomial. Now we're just going to take whatever is on the outside and we're going to add it together. So we have x squared plus y squared in parentheses, and this one is also x squared plus y squared. Now another way you guys could write this is x squared plus y squared all squared. Either acceptable is fine, but this is the factored form of this. Now we're going to move on to an example that we have covered in class and was also on your packet. Same exact method. Okay, we're going to draw our box. We're going to draw our little rectangles in the box. So here we'll only have 2 terms, so we don't even got to worry about a middle term. So this is going to go here, and this is going to go here. Now, similar as what we did with the x to the 4th up top, we're going to do to the same to 4m to the 8th. So here I'm going to put, 2m 4th. And 2m to the 4th, because 2m to the 4 times 2m to the 4 is equal to 4m to the 8th. Okay, so we got these two side lengths now. We're going to do the same for n to the 8th. Now, keep in mind, it is minus n to the 8th. So because there's a minus in front of this n to the 8th, we're actually supposed to put a minus in the box with it. Now, I got to find two values where when I multiply them, I get negative n to the 8th. I know your immediate response was probably just n times 4, n to the 4th times n to the 4th. But that will give us positive n to the 8th, which is not correct. So what I can do is negative n to the 4th times positive n to the 4th gives me negative n to the 8th. So on the side lengths, over here I'm going to put minus n 4th, and here I'll put the positive n 4th. Now we have all of our side lengths accounted for, so now I have my two factors. So I'm just going to put this down here. I'm going to start with the column first. 2m to the 4th plus n to the 4th multiplied by 2m to the 4th and minus, because this is my other factor up here. So now I have also completed this problem. I was trying to factor what was up here, and I've done that down here using the box method. I know you guys are wondering, what about the two boxes over here? Why are we not using them? Because right now it wasn't really necessary. We found our two factors without using them, but we're going to use those in the next few problems. Alright, so the next example we're going to do, you may have also seen in class. is this up top. So same thing, I want to factor it. I draw my box. My first term, x squared, here. Term all the way at the end, 4y squared, put that over here. So already we can start to factor out some of the inner boxes. We know x squared is going to be x, and 4y squared. There's a couple different ways we could do this. You could do 2y times 2y equals 4y squared. You can also do 4y times y equals 4y squared. Now, you might be wondering, why is this important? Because we have the 5xy. So when we have the 5xy, we have to take into account how we're going to factor out this. So for this one, I'm going to select this, and I'm going to plug that into my box. So that means I have 4y up here, and I have y down here. And if you look, I've actually already factored this. Well, x is going to multiply with 4y, 4xy, y multiplies with x over here, and I have xy. Now, if you add the sum of all of these in the middle, you're going to get the polynomial we have up top. So that's how you know that this is accurate. And we've also successfully factored it. So the same thing. I'm going to take the terms on the outside. So now I have x plus y times x plus 4y. Okay, and now I have successfully factored this into this, and this is my answer at the bottom. Next one, m to the fourth. I know it might be a little intimidating, you might think we haven't done that yet, but it's an extremely similar process. So I'm going to draw my box. First term, m to the fourth. Over here, my last term is positive 15, so that's going to go here. Now we can already start to factor these out. M squared, m squared. Now I know the factors of 15. 3 times 5, and 3 and 5 also add up to 8, so that works out pretty nicely. So what I could do, I can add, well, keep in mind, it's negative 8. So negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8. Negative 3 times negative 5 equals to 15. So these numbers actually work out pretty well. So over here, I'm going to put negative 3. Over here, I'm going to put negative 5. Now this works because negative 3 times m squared will go here, and negative 5 times m squared is going to go here. Again, if you add everything up in the middle, it equals our multivariable polynomial up here. Well, this isn't really a multivariable polynomial, it's just an example of a regular polynomial because our only variable is m. But if you add up everything in the rectangle, you will get what's up here. Same thing, we found the factors, they are on the outside. So now, m squared minus 5, m squared minus 3. We have successfully factored this into this. Okay, so these are the last two problems that we're going to do. Okay, now we'll start with the one up top. It's a multivariable polynomial. I know it seems a little complicated just because there's 4 terms, but through the box method, you guys will see it's actually not so bad. Okay, so I got my 4 rectangles or 4 squares, however you want to look at it. And I'm just going to fill in my 4 terms as you see. I always put the first one up top, but in all honesty, it doesn't really matter what order you put them in. As you can see, I put it just a little bit out of order here, but it's fine. So I'm going to start with the top left. I have 24xy. I'm going to start by focusing on the 24. Now I'm going to list all the factors of 24. So as you can see here, we got 2, 12, 3, 8, 4, 6. All right, I multiply these together, and they give me 24. Now, this is where I tell you guys in class, get creative, all right? Play around with it. See what you can put in here, what works and what doesn't. For the sake of time, I'm going to tell you guys it's 3 and 8, okay? 3 times 8 is 24. Now, I'm going to put my 3 over here, my 8 over here, but I can't forget about the xy. So I have to split those up somehow in a way that makes sense. So since my y is over here with the negative 15y, I'll have it being multiplied by 3y, and x is down here, so I'll have my x up here with my 8. Okay, so when you multiply 3y, 8x together, it gives you 24xy, so that's going to stay the same. And from here, you're pretty much, it's like you're kind of finding the pieces of a puzzle and just putting this together until you get the factors. Okay, so we already know all the terms in here, and we have these two, so it should be pretty straightforward from here. For example, here we have negative 15y, and we know something is gonna multiply 3y to get minus 15y. And I think we can all see that that is negative 5. Negative 5 times 3y is negative 15y. So I got this side done. Now 104x. I have my 8x up here, so I can do 104 divided by 8. I'm going to do that really quickly. It's actually 13. Okay, so I put 13 over here. Now 8x times 13 is 104x. Also, if you go over here, negative 5 times 13 is negative 65. So every box in here has a side accounted for, and it works. This is our original polynomial, and we just found the factors. As before, I'm going to put it into parentheses. So we got 3y plus 13 and 8x minus 5 because of the negative. And that's it. That's our answer. We took our polynomial up top and we factored it completely over here. I'm going to do one more example with 4 terms with just a few different steps so you guys see, okay? This is why I wanted you guys to focus on the box method instead of the other rules that we have to memorize, because with this one, there's nothing you really have to memorize. You just create the box, you write your terms in, and then you just kind of work it out from there. Okay, now I have 8x cubed, so there's a couple different ways I could split this up. I know there's 1 and 8 and 2 and 4, so I'm going to put my 4 over here and my 2 over here. Now, since x cubed, and we know x squared times x is x cubed, here I have negative 12x squared, so it would make sense for me to put the x squared over here. And since this is 34x, it would make sense for me to put the x over here with the 2. And same thing as before. All the squares inside are filled up. So now I'm kind of just finding pieces of the puzzle in a way to get the factors. So I have 4x squared, negative 12x squared. So there's something over here that multiplies with 4x squared to give me this. And you guys could see it's negative 3. Negative 3 times 4x squared is negative 12x squared. So I have this side done. Now, 2x is going to multiply with something to get 34x. Okay, when you do 34 divided by 2, it is 17. 2x times 17, 34x. Same as before, we're done. We have our factors. So now I'm just going to write the 2 columns in the form of parentheses. Do I have room? Yes. So 4x squared plus 17. And the other side, 2x minus 3. Those are my 2 factors. So this is this polynomial in factored form. Okay, so this is my answer when asked to factor the multivariable polynomial. Well, it's not really multivariable, it's all x, but I'm sure this is something that you guys would have wanted to see. And that is my answer.